Hi, it's Uncle Bear, and this is week 9 of my project on Patreon, Take Heart, Make Hearth, Get Cozy Experiments with Embracing Winter and Not Feeling So Crappy. That is one of the key things of this project, not feeling so crappy. And I have been working with feeling crispy on and off for almost this whole pandemic. I use this word crispy. What does crispy mean? It means tight. It means my capacity narrows. It means that I have more negative thinking. It means that I'm feeling more sadness. It means that I'm irritable. It means all those things, crispy for me. And a couple weeks ago, we did gratitude, which was a huge help. And I'm going to continue doing gratitude practice. And I really want to do something deeper, meatier. That part of me that wants to wrangle and find ways to alleviate some of my suffering and the suffering of others kind of came up. So the theme of this week is compassion. Compassion meaning from the Latin to suffer together, to suffer with, which whenever I think of that, I always in my head say that's a bad selling point of compassion, to suffer with. And I also think that it is incredibly important to understand that we are with each other in our joys, in our sadnesses, in our suffering. We are with each other. We can't not be with each other, even when we're isolated and alone. We are with humanity. We are with the world. I have taught in my past about how to stop or slow down compassion fatigue because I've done a lot of work in social service and helping people who are experiencing multiple obstacles. And in that work, one of the biggest takeaways, and this is one of the biggest takeaways for this week, is focusing on self-care. Focusing on self-compassion is one of the most important things that we can do in order to not be burnt out and fatigued so much, having a compassionate response to others. Compassion and empathy are not the same thing. One of the things I'm excited about this week is to delve more into that difference and understand more about how that works. From my limited understanding, empathy, most of us it's hardwired. We have mirror neurons in our brain holes that help us feel what other people are experiencing. We see that through facial expressions and gestures, energy. Let's go to the woo, some energy. Let alone words and all those other kind of signals we feel with other people. It's that thing where if someone is telling you that you care about something that's sad and you start to feel the sadness yourself. So there's some empathy. Compassion, you're suffering with, you're feeling with another human being, and yet you have, I don't want to say you're not removed, but you still have some objectivity so you don't get utterly enmeshed, which can happen with empathy. You don't get utterly enmeshed, and you have the capacity to want to support and assist that suffering in coming down. So there's a desire to help. I don't like to use the word help. I kind of gave that up a long time ago because it implies that whoever needs help is helpless. I don't like that. And I can see that compassion is empathy wanting to be active in some way. And active doesn't mean that you're going to go do stuff. It means that it's not just feeling with. It's feeling with and then offering the space to help alleviate suffering in some way, I think. So there's witnessing going on with compassion. The ability to be present and to witness others is an act of compassion. I'm going to be looking at all sorts of things. I'm going to learn a lot. I'm excited about that. Some of the things, though, that I'd like to talk about with compassion for this week, as you're thinking about it too, are some of the qualities, which are patience, wisdom, kindness, resolve, perseverance, warmth. All those things have their place within compassion and so many others. So if you are feeling incredibly fatigued compassionately, maybe one of those other qualities of compassion you can tie into, you can connect into, So this fatigue of exhaustion, because we all feel so exhausted, especially compassionately, right? Because the world is suffering right now. Our communities are suffering. Our families are suffering. We are suffering right now. We are under duress and stress. So maybe we don't go all the way to compassion, but maybe we have more warmth, more kindness, more resolve to be present to ourselves and others. I'm going to play with all that kind of stuff. The exercise today that I offer to you and I invite you to come into is to take a moment and to really consider, what is compassion for you? What does it mean for you? Having a sense of a definition for yourself, a working definition. And if that is, you're not sure and you have a big question mark, that's excellent too. So my working definition is to have an empathetic response and then want to support myself or others to alleviate that response. The part of the Buddhist Bodhisattva vow is to, be present to alleviate suffering and the causes of suffering, basically until all sentient beings are free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So I think that compassion itself, can have it's a long game. It's not a short fix. And that doesn't mean that you don't shift your focus from time to time onto other things, but being consistently moving into compassionate responses to ourselves and others, I think is incredibly useful. I also want to offer today and through this week, there's going to be definitely practice on this. So some self-compassion with your thinking, with your feelings, with your body, with what's going on or what's not going on enough. I hear a lot of human beings expressing this incredible boredom, that life feels incredibly dull. And so how do we become compassionate with the fact that this is an experience that a lot of people are having, let alone all the other gazillion experiences? So having a compassionate response, being with as people are experiencing the various degrees of distress and suffering in their lives. If you are enjoying this experience and the shenanigans with me, week 9, I can't believe it's week 9. Please subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a subscribe button somewhere, and you can ring the bell to get notifications when I upload. And also, please visit my Patreon site, which you can visit all the experiments for free and see the ones that resonate for you. If you want to subscribe, it starts at $5 a month. It's a pretty good deal. And you can also see other things that I offer in the tiers and as it goes up. So I am grateful to be wrangling compassion this week. I think it's needed. I need some self-compassion, and I really recognize that my compassion for others, for the world, for the situation that we're in COVIDlandia has diminished. And I want to fortify that experience and learn a lot more about what compassion is and how I can engage with it consciously. We do this thing together. We certainly do compassion together. Thanks.